Hi there, it's Nitty Knotty Hand Dyed Yarn, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to do ribbing. Now, ribbing is used for the edges of necklines, wrist cuffs, the edges of hats a lot of times, things like that. And basically, it makes for a stretchy fabric that kind of snugs up when it's not being stretched out, so it looks a little different and it has a different amount of stretch and movement from a regular knit stitch, stockinette, or garter stitch. So the first thing you'll do is you'll do your cast on, same as you normally would, normal cast on, nothing new. And then what you're going to do is you're going to knit and purl alternating. Usual rib stitch is 2 knit 2 purl, but your pattern will tell you. So it'll say, you know, either K1 P1 for knit 1 purl 1, or K2 P2 for knit 2 purl 2, so and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to do the 2 and 2 just because it's the most common, kind of standard, and then I'll show you what that looks like. So again, we're knitting, so we want our yarn in the back. We're going to go left to right, wrap our yarn and pull it through to do our knit stitches as you've learned in the previous videos. So knit 2, oops, here we go. Now we're going to bring the yarn to the front. So it's a little different. In previous stitches we've learned we were doing the whole row the same thing. So we either started with the yarn in the back and stayed in the back, or we started with the yarn in the front and stayed in the front. So now we're changing our stitch in the middle of our work. So you're going to want to bring the yarn to the front in between the needles, not over the needle, in between the needles to do your purl stitch. And then you're going to go right to left, wrap and pull through, wrap and pull through for our 2 purl stitches. Then move back. Again, you want to keep your yarn in the back for our knit stitches, and we're going to do 2 knit stitches. So make sure you're going between your needles, not over the needles, between the needles, and you'll knit 2, there we go, then back through in between to purl 2, and you'll do that for the length that your pattern instructs, however many stitches it is. Okay, you get to your end, and it's not going to look like anything impressive right now, but you can see the difference between the knit stitch, looks like a little V, and a purl stitch, which looks like a sideways bar. Okay, now we're going to turn our work. Now if we're turning our work, if you're doing a circular, then you just keep working and it's relatively easy to see what you're doing. If you're turning your work, again, you have to do the opposite because the back of a knit is a purl and vice versa. So when we were going this way, we did knit, purl, knit, purl, knit. So now we're going to turn it, and we have to start with purl, because if we did a knit stitch here, it would look like that garter stitch. It would not look like the purl stitches we need, right? So I'm going to go ahead and purl this row. These 2. Then we'll go into the knit, and you can see these 2 would be your knit stitches. So you'll knit the knits and purl the purls. So when you see that little V, that's a knit stitch. We put our yarn in the back in between our needles, and we knit 2. Now we see the little bars, so we know those are purl stitches. We move our yarn in between the needles and we purl 2. We see the knit stitches, the little V's, so we take our yarn to the back between the needles and we knit 2. Again, we change for the little bars. We know those are purl stitches, so we purl 2. Now, it would be really boring for you to watch me do that 10 more times, so I'm going to come back to you when I have a few rows done so you can see what it looks like as the project goes on. And I'm back, and we have our ribbing. So you can see all the knits are knitted, all the purls are purled, and you have a nice stretchy 2x2 ribbing.